Hi, Jen. Welcome. Hello, Carrie. How are you doing, my love?
Well, thank you. Hello, Brittany.
Nice to see you. Glad you can make it.
Thank you. I got tequila with me today.
Oh, cute. Is that your dog?
No, it's my sister-in-law's dog, but she comes to visit me, so
Very cute. Very cute. Hi, Jen. How are you? I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Hi.
Okay. Um, yeah, so good to see you guys.
Yeah, nice to see you too. I'm glad you can make it.
I know I'm at a cafe, so if
Perfect.
I can't hear, then I'm probably going to step outside. But yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. I still had some more people RSVP, so I'll just wait like a few minutes. But this is Michelle. She is a beautiful, radiant being. So I'm really excited and glad for her to be here and share her knowledge with you guys soon.
Excited. So good to see you guys. Hi, how are you?
Ready to get started. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves to Michelle while we're waiting for people to join?
Sure. Should I go first?
Anyone, not everyone at the same time.
I'm
um,
Carrie.
yeah, go Carrie.
Um, well, I've been working with Brittany for a little while now, and so she's teaching me how to do the thing, to do the business thing. I'm finally beginning to embrace it and implement all of her all of her incredible knowledge. It's taken a little bit of time. She's been super patient with me, so I love Brittany.
Dang, I love you too. What's your business?
I'm a subconscious freedom coach.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so I was like, we were in a mastermind together, and so I wanted to start coaching, and I was on a call with Brittany, and she's like, "Hey, do you want me to help you?" And I was like, "Yes, sure," because I had no idea where to start. So I started with Brittany, I think before I even had my first client. So the Brittany has been with me through the entire process, like even creating a business was with Brittany.
Yeah, that whole like paperwork, LLC stuff is like
We
so
haven't done that yet. That actually I feel like I got really fortunate because I started getting clients before I even like have everything set up. I don't have a website yet. Like there's a lot of things I've done kind of a backwards sort of a thing, but Brittany's held me wherever I was through the whole process. So I'm I'm very grateful.
yeah. And like I'm working with someone right now. They've been doing business for 5 years, a lot of great success, like sometimes you don't need that right away. It's like whatever feels right for you and on your journey for it's your business, it's your way, how you want it.
Yeah, that's really what I'm leaning into now is because a lot of the technology stuff and just even wrapping my head around the entire marketing process doesn't like it's taken a while for me to start to embrace it, but if I decide it works, it's gonna work. And that's what I'm leaning into because this week it's like I have so many appointments and it feels like it's blowing up. And so what's interesting about that is now there's more of an incentive to be like, oh, okay, I want to use this momentum to figure out some of this other stuff that I haven't leaned into just yet.
Like what? Like content?
Like, yeah, like what
Okay.
you're talking about today. I have no idea what this is about. So I'm super curious.
Cool. It's so exciting. It's like perfect divine timing then. Okay, cool. I'm happy to be by your side too then.
By the way, Carrie, I met Michelle through Sarah. So you guys are in the same realm as
Oh,
well.
awesome.
And Jen
Awesome.
too. And Jen, I actually met all of you guys through the same community.
Oh, really? So everybody's like a Sarah fan here.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So we're all speaking the same language.
That's right. I know it's already been a few minutes, Michelle. I'm just gonna be messaging people if they're trying to get in and stuff, but I'd love to give you the floor if you want to go ahead and get started.
Sure. Yeah, I know one of the people is like in the Philippines, so it's probably 4 a.m. for them over there. So we'll see. But yeah, we'll get started. All right, copy for the cause. So we already got some momentum. Like, can I get a what? Let's go.
What?
Group is popping. And yeah, as you've seen, like through the material that we've shared so far, we're going to go into the power of language, subconscious symbolism, which, you know, we're all here, we all are familiar with. And I'm going to talk about how that coincides with copywriting. Really, really powerful, and how it can expand your reach and deepen community and make an impact through action. So let's see. Let's move in. I'll just introduce myself. At a glance, basically, if you had to know one thing about what I do as a copywriter, it's like it's not my passion, it's not my career, it's a personal vendetta to make the world a little less lame, one conversion at a time. And when I say conversion, right? Conversion sounds like conversation, right? So if I'm talking to you, Jen, or I'm talking to you, Carrie, I'm talking to you, Brittany, like we're having a conversation to talk about where do you want to go for lunch? Right. And we're having a conversation to create a conversion to take action where we're going to go to lunch. And that's the same thing here with your mission, because you're here to create a better world. And you're going to do that through your conversions, through conversations, which is the medium of copy. So the energy that I like to bring to what I do as a business owner, as a brand, is like a little bit of Charlie's Angel secret spy behind the scenes doing market research, which is a little bit of what you're going to do too, because you know your clients and you're going to want to really know them like on a deeper level, which we'll get into, so that you can speak directly to what they need. And then a little bit of just human being and a little bit of creative fairy, because copywriting can be very like formulaic and almost mathematic, which we'll get into, but it also brings room for creativity where you're not feeling like you're just reading from a script. So that's kind of it before. And I got into copywriting as a content writer. I was writing for blogs and conscious platforms and publications. And then I realized copywriting is what drives action. It's all around us. It's what makes people buy. It's what makes people take action. And when we really tap into this and understand this, we realize that our dollar is our vote. So the most tangible energy that we use every day in making transactions is our dollar, you know. And I don't get too political, but I don't believe in voting in the political system. They're all part of the same thing. So the most powerful thing we can do is what we're doing now with, you know, your offer and talking to people directly, because it really does create a ripple effect. So, Carrie, you shared this with me. Jen, are you also doing a subconscious mind coach? Is that your offer? What are you?
So no, not at the moment. Right now, I actually was given the opportunity to run my own business, and it's a children's clothing store, and it's going to be online only. So, and I had another business too, where I was working with small businesses and offering services like social media posting and like kind of like posting about them and what they do. So I do interviews too, like of small business owners only, and creators. So that's my other one. But I just am taking over this children's brand. So I feel like this is going to be a great call, because I am going to be like working a lot on like blogging and like marketing myself. And I sometimes like I get stuck because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm just gonna do it. And like you said at the beginning, like this is our chance to make it ours, because it's our business and we get to do whatever we want. But at the same time, I'm just like, I don't know what I want. Like, what am I doing? So yeah, so I'm really excited for this call.
What's your like what are you most excited about this business with the children's clothing? Like what's lighting you up the most about it?
So it is actually was working there part-time because I quit my job, my 9 to 5, and I needed a part-time to like hold me down with like the smaller bills that I had. And it's happened last August, and now this August I'm actually the one taking over the business. So it's kind of crazy the way all of this like unfolded. But what I really love about this brand is that everything's organic. Like it's everything, all the clothes, yeah, the baby clothes is like 100% cotton, and the toys are all like plastic-free toys. Like it's all like it aligns really well with the lifestyle that I live as well. Like I like to make a lot of like homemade meals for my kid and like sugar-free stuff for my child. So like I feel like I'll be able to share those stories as well. I just my thing is like I have so many ideas, and I get so excited that I feel like when it comes to starting something, it's like I get stuck. It's like, where do I begin? But I feel like I just need to like write everything down so like I don't forget about anything. But and that just excites me, that part of like helping, being able to help other moms and just share what I do already with my child and just live a healthier lifestyle and stuff like that. So yeah, I feel like this will give me the opportunity to do that.
And you're already like, you're a mother, so you have that like lived experience. And I mean, that gives you the opportunity to maybe not even have to have things so planned. You can just like, if you're comfortable with it, you can just talk candidly and like, share a reel or a story. If the business, I don't know how the branding is, if it allows for that, but okay, cool. That's really cool. That's awesome that you're doing that. I'm gonna have to connect with you because my friend just had a baby and my cousin just had a baby, so I need to support them with some organic stuff.
Oh my gosh, yes. I'm actually launching this Sunday, and I'm like so nervous because I'm like, what if it doesn't, like what if it flops? But then again, I'm like I have a huge email list, so I'm like, Jen, everything is gonna be okay. Like you're gonna be fine. Like people are gonna be excited for this. Like they're gonna come shop. I'm like I'm having a some end of summer sale, so that's what I'm starting with. So it's gonna be like the older styles are gonna be like a markdown, and like I don't know. It's like I just don't want to mess anything up.
Hey,
But
I'm
yeah, definitely I'll share
used to
the
like,
website and stuff with Brittany and the client club, and yeah, hopefully we get to all link like that.
that feeling is so normal, so when you have the support and you have the community, like you're gonna be okay, but you're taking action. So all right, cool, good to know. We're gonna have a little bit of a workshop. So we discussed this. I'm gonna just move for times, to keep time. This is kind of like what we'll be flowing through: language and human behavior, subconscious messaging and linguistics, which is something that I feel we all are going to be able to relate on and understand. And then we'll get into client avatar and problem solving so that you can really know your client. Then we will get into the principles of geometry and copy formulas. I'm going to share some of the stuff there, and the power of math and language. Hello, Vanessa. Welcome.
Yeah, hi, thanks. My internet's so scattered today, but I'm here.
Here. Yeah. If you feel comfortable sharing just briefly, like 2 minutes or less, what lights you up in your mission and what change you're here to create. If you want to say it, or you can put it in the chat.
Okay, yeah, I can do that really quick.
Yeah, all right.
I I love I love witnessing the change in people's demeanors and confidence and seeing the empowerment that they now have and created within their body, by doing some breath work and meditation and kind of going through the 4-step process that I help with. And so it's kind of neat to see people just being empowered and having wins every single day. And these wins are like I mean, all wins are big, but she's like a pilot and she's like, oh my gosh, like I'm flying planes now and I'm like doing tricks in the air and I'd never had the confidence to do that. And I'm like, what the hell? So it's kind of cool to see. And it's nice to be in a presence of like a lifting kind of spirit if you're not having the greatest of days. So it's really nice that your clients can also unknowingly help you.
Yeah, it's definitely an exchange. That's so
Yeah.
cool. Badass.
Yeah.
You like embodiment coach, how do you?
I'm a mindset coach. I'm trying to like nail down an empowerment niche. And I would like to work specifically with women, but I don't want to like discount half the population. But I'm like gearing more towards like I'm like empower women. So I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, Vanessa. Glad you
Thanks.
can join
Nice
us.
to meet you. Thank you. Hi, nice to meet you.
Awesome, sweet. So yeah, thank you for sharing, because we're gonna towards the end we'll have like a mini little workshop. And yeah, just going into that with what we'll go over. So we'll dive right in and start with language. So, right, if we're going to look at copywriting as this tool and building bridges as a catalyst for change, helping people take action, we have to look at the root, which is language. And language is the basis of how we all communicate, from our ancestors to even now, and even like the people that aren't even here, which I'll call AI, right? Like they're learning from us. So it's communication from every which way, whether it's the words we speak, maybe grunts like, oh, and like put this rock together, or like hieroglyphs and telling stories. It's everything in our body language. And right, as we know, language can help us create safety and community, like right now, and we're sharing and we're supporting one another. And then in some cases, it can also create destruction, which we see in the world all the time, right? Like, and when I say this, right, that words have the power to start wars or build community. Like, I'm not just saying like, oh yeah, it has the power to start wars because someone declares war and they like have they made an agreement to do that, right? And they're creating all this stuff. It's because there's a whole mechanism behind it. And I'll go a little bit into this when we get into the principles of geometry. But copywriting as we know it is a result from using language in a way to sell ideas. Basically, we're just selling ideas. And well, yeah, we'll get into that a little bit more. But what's really important when we're looking at copywriting is speaking to the person's identity. So whether you're a fitness coach, whether you're a mindset coach, subconscious mind coach, whether you're helping mothers and babies to live healthier lives and taking in organic fabric into their pores, like we need to know exactly who we're talking to and being able to bridge the gap from where they are and where they're going. So the power, right, subconscious messaging and then linguistic anthropology, it's not just in what is said, but how it's said. And it's not just how it's said, but it's who it's said to. And it's not just who it's said to, but it's what it means to them. Because I could be saying all the right things to the wrong person, or I could be saying all the right things to the right person, but if it doesn't mean anything to them, if they're not, if they know if they have patterns that they need to break, but they don't know that yet, and I'm telling them, then they don't know. We need to know where they are. And it's going to sound so simple, but like identity can be one of the hardest things, because we know what we have to offer, and it takes market research, and you don't always have to do market research. Sometimes you just know this from the clients that you work with and like who you're meant to serve. So that could be helpful for you too, Vanessa. Like you're feeling so called to work with women, so yeah, knowing this helps your client be able to take guided action and not feel confusion, and they're able to you basically know them better than they know themselves. You know what lights them up, what keeps them up at night, where they want to go, and maybe what they've tried already that maybe hasn't worked, and what they need to do, and the solution that you have that's going to help them get there. Like that they already did this and that didn't work out. So now we're going to look at this and see, connect that gap. So again, it's not just what is said, which goes back to the formulas, which we'll get to, because you can say anything, but it's how you say it. You want to speak with conviction. You want to know what you're saying, and you want to know that the people that are listening need to hear it from you. It really helps with any barriers of feeling shy or wondering what people are going to think, because it's not about us. It's not about whether I trip up on my words on a reel or not, because the person that needs to hear it is going to need to hear it. So it's like all about them. And that's so empowering. And I want to get into a little bit of the linguistic anthropology, because that is the study of how language influences social life, from being at a stop sign and knowing stop, we need to stop, or else if I don't stop, I can get into an accident, if I stop, then it's going to let another person go. So having that understanding and how that social interaction and the social contracts that we engage in, whether we know or we don't know, whether we agree with it or whether we don't agree with it, knowing that gives us the power to make a change. So the linguistics shape our subconscious symbolism that then influence social norms, values, behaviors that are embedded in the signs around us. And, you know, we can see that at popular examples like the American Dream. The American Dream used to be mean so much for people. It used to mean, you know, having that picket fence, having that job. And now the American Dream is completely different. For some people, the American Dream is like not having to work a 9 to 5, you know, like being able to travel. Or, you know, the term Big Brother. Big Brother used to be a very protective thing in American culture. You know, Big Brother wants you to fight and give to our country, where now it's like Big Brother is always watching. So it's always changing, and it's cool because language is a living and breathing thing, just like we are. We breathe the word, we breathe the life into the language. All right.
I feel like that's where I'm stuck a little bit, and like not feeling like a vibe. Like if I'm in a mood, how do I get myself out of this mood to create content? Because I'm like really big on like energy, and I'm like, I don't want to give off a fake energy because I don't want to do that. So it's like, how do you get past that if you're just like not in the
So maybe like feeling like I have to post, but I'm not in the mood to post.
or just in conversation? Like I feel like sometimes like it's really, really rare for me to be in a mood, but I understand like the concept of energy and how your tone is coming off and how you like all of it matters. And so it's like, well, I don't really want to post something like this because it's me like putting myself out there as somebody who's like almost fake, and I don't want to be that, but I also like want to be authentic. So it's like, well, where's the line? Like what do I share? How do I share?
Can you share a specific example of that?
Like I just spent like Sunday with a pretty like negative person, and no matter how hard I tried, I was just like giving advice and like being like, hey, well, what if this, or like what if it all works out, or like what about this, and you know, just like giving all of the best case scenarios because I am a coach. And so it's like, let's do solutions. And for every single thing I said, it was just like, no, no. And it was just like combated with like negative energy. So at some point I was like, this is so much. So I'm just going to like not and let them, you know, sometimes you just want to sit in it. So I'm just like, cool, I'll just let you sit in it then. But that affected like the rest of my day. And I just felt like every time I went online and like tried to put some goodness out into the world, like that was a really big block for me. So I was like, I need to sage the crap out of myself right now. Like I'm like, and so I feel like I just like continued. And then I was like, of course, like I feel like you attract the energy you put out. And so I was like getting all these comments like, you shouldn't post that, like, blah, blah. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be on the internet right now because I love like sprinkling love and goodness. And so it's like, if I'm putting that out there, like I don't really want to receive that type of stuff. So I'm like, but it does put like I feel like it's 24 hours of like a hold, and I feel like time is really important. And so I like, you know, I only have 12 weeks for this like business breakthrough. So it's like, this is a really big deal to me. And so when I have that sort of stop, I just want to like, I don't really know how to navigate that because it's just like, I'm not going to show up inauthentic, but you know, I want to be a light for people, not necessarily like bring any negative nonsense. So I don't know. Language is important. Yeah.
Yeah, that could be something, you know, Brittany's really good with this too. Like a conversation, because yeah, I'm curious about that. And this might not be like for this call, but I definitely know what you're talking about. And like from a perspective, I've experienced that too. And there are definitely ways so that it doesn't drain you, because sometimes like those things teach us, you know, teach us a lot. And I'm sure you've learned learned a lot too. From
Okay.
that. This is where, you know, knowing, yeah, the tonality and also who you're speaking to, where questions are really great and asking so that you can know, you know that before like engaging in something that can potentially, you know, take more energy that than you know would have preferred, because it's really
Yeah.
important. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Thanks.
And yeah, like I'm happy, and I know Brittany would be happy to talk more about it. Okay, so I want to go into example with the mechanic. I was gonna say the doctor, but I feel like I don't really want to. Mechanic is also, I wanted to use an example that kind of gets a negative undertone, but can also be positive, because for me, mechanics, I go in there, I'm a girl, they think they can take advantage of me and like tell me all this is messed up with my car. It's like, you know, the word mechanic can stir up a lot of these beliefs, because maybe, I don't know, for me personally, I'll just speak of my experience. Sometimes, you know, I've gone and I get my car back and it's The next week, there's problems with it. Then there are times where I go to the family mechanic and the mechanic is so embodied in their craft. They know everything about my car better than I do. And I think I go to them, I think I have all these issues with my car and I think it's going to cost me an arm and a leg. And they're like, oh yeah, no, like it's just the alternator and it ends up costing like, I don't know, a couple $100 and it's done tomorrow. And then there's no issues, right? Because this is the family mechanic who has built a presence and knows my car and me probably, right? The issues that I have as the client avatar, as the person going to them for help, they know me better than I know myself. So this is where the identity comes back, because sometimes like, someone will come across your post and they're like, oh, like I just, I'm looking at my friend's having a baby and like, I don't know what to do. Like all these clothes are just like, you have to go to this website and then it takes forever to ship, right? And maybe, Jen, for yours, like, should you have fast shipping, right? Like, so these are certain things like to the nitty gritty where the problems that your client is facing and how to speak to them so that you know what to focus on most in your stuff. And then sometimes, this gets them into your DMs and you close them on there, you have a call. Sometimes you don't even need a call because they feel like, oh my God, this person knows my problem so well. Like, okay, I'm ready. Like, I want to work with you. And I've done that. Like, I've worked with mentors. I'm like, all right, I'm ready. Like, I don't need a call. So again, identity is really important. Again, and also with the energy and protecting our energy. So think of yourself as the family mechanic. You are the family mindset coach. You don't just work with your client, you work with their brother and their sister. You are the family organic clothing provider. You don't just provide the organic clothing to one mom, she's going to tell her sister. You're the family mechanic of what you do, and you know the problems and you have the best solution. So now we get into the content that you're putting out there. And I mentioned this a bit on the reel, if maybe you saw it, right? Like we want to stop that godforsaken scroll, or scrolling for what, right? People are looking for answers and they don't even know what they're looking for. And the explore page is like, here, here, here. So your audience is watching your stuff, they're reading your words, and they're going from being content with everything else that's out there and scrolling, content with what they are in their life, and now they feel an intent because they just met you. They feel an intent to look a little bit more into your reel. Maybe you came up on the explore page. Maybe they follow you and they come up every now and then. They're like, yeah, I have this intent to share it on my story, to share it with friends, to comment, to just reach out and ask a question. You're taking them to drive action, which is huge, because this is where it kind of goes into your strategy and driving action, where now you're not just speaking to what they want and they're like, oh yeah, like that's me. They're like, no, like that's me and I don't want to be this anymore. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to put my baby in polyester. I don't want to be stuck in my mindset. So I see this as a little timeline, right? When we can see ourselves in this there's the Big Bang, right? In the world, and language, the language of the cosmos, the language of humanity that shapes our human behavior and condition and intertwines with our subconscious mind and behavior. And now we have culture and society, and there's so much within culture and society, a lot of good stuff, a lot of noise, and we want to tune into that right frequency with our content. So that's what we're gonna dive into. So again, this is your role, your mission, your sacred power that you're here to do. It's more sacred than the mind can compute. And just for the purposes of today's call, we're gonna synthesize that into a copy formula. So we're on our way there. We're gonna do a little mini workshop together. And don't worry, like you're not gonna do it all alone. I'm not gonna throw you out into the wolves to do this. I'll go through an example with you together. So before we get into the formula, I just want to share a little bit about why it's important. So these guide you you already have all the information inside. I think maybe it was you, Jen, that was saying, because you have the launch coming up, like, I don't know where to start, I have all these ideas. Like these formulas aren't meant to keep us like in a box and I have to only say this, it just gives us somewhere where we can kind of strategize and organize our message in a way that encourages action. So that way we can put it into a strategy that doesn't feel so constrictive, but still gives us room to like say what we need to say to the right people. And once you have this known, you don't feel uncomfortable or like worried about what you're going to say because you know exactly what you're going to say, who you're going to say it to. And this is where it gets interesting because copy, I don't know about you, but I was never a math person in school. Anyone here is anyone here a math person or no? Okay. So I want to share something.
I would be in accounting right now if I were.
I remember it was like, I'm not into math and I was communications and like social science humanities major. And we had a seminar with my professor and he like, I thought we were going to be talking about philosophy and like, you know, Roman culture. And then he's over here talking about geometry. And I'm going to share about it because it changed my perspective. And I think it kind of like subconsciously was like, all right, now I need to do copywriting because this is so powerful. But there, you know, it's a blueprint. And all right, so we're going to get into this. And again, I'm not into politics, but I want to share an example about how the principles of geometry and Abraham Lincoln kind of work together in a specific way. And the Emancipation Proclamation. So this is a really popular speech that he gave. And Abraham Lincoln was really into Euclid. Euclid was a master like mathematician, and he has like these 6 books, and Abraham Lincoln would just carry them around all over the place, and he would study them. And he studied the principles of geometry, where let's say you see a right triangle and a right triangle, you know, golden ratio, they all have proofs to prove that this Fibonacci sequence is what it is. There's proofs to prove that a right, it's like, even though I can see clearly that this is a right triangle, there's proofs, which sounds a little silly, but then when mathematical equations get a little bit more intense, which I don't know anything about, you're able to come back to the root, right? So when life gets crazy or maybe business gets crazy, you're able to come back to your mission and like your why. So that's, it just applies to so many things. Now I'm going to start with a simple example. With a line. There's a formula to prove that a line is a line. There's a formula to prove that a point, a little dot, is a dot. But the thing is that dot can be divided over and over again, so the period is always there. And that's what you want to get to. You want to get to that constant that is always the same, whether it's like your pillars or your brand mission, that you can expand upon with your content. So how this comes back to Abraham Lincoln and the Emancipation Proclamation is that he learned these things to the T in this book called The Elements by Euclid. And maybe, you know, you could do a little bit of research on that on your own time. It's really interesting. And he studied logic-based arguments to help free the slaves. And again, I'm not like, oh, Abraham Lincoln government, but this is just a very powerful example of how this bridged unity. Okay. And it's also a powerful example of how it can create wars. World War I was an idea that was sold to the government and capitalists to create more money, right? It wasn't because like, oh, like we don't like these people. It was about money. So just a little two sides of the coin, positive and a little not so positive, just to see how powerful this really is. And if you ever like feel stuck, it's like what you're doing is so powerful. So I just want to share this quote. If language is not correct, then what is said is not what is meant. And if what is said is not what is meant, then what ought to be done remains undone. So we want to say what we mean and we want to mean what we say. And this is how copy helps us. So we're going to go right in. I'm going to share 2 examples. Okay. I'm going to share one example of there's these things called swipe files, okay? And this can be really helpful for you in your copywriting process for any niche. And you can find swipe files of successful ads, successful pieces that were out there to learn from. And this was a really big game changer for me when I was learning copywriting. So your goal is your reader identifies with what you post. It evokes emotion and inspires action. That's all you want to do. You want your reader to see themselves. You want to evoke an emotion. What maybe it's like you want to like light a fire. You don't want to be here. Polyester is so bad for your skin, but there's a better way. Organic clothing inspires action, right? Ida. We love Ida. She's homegirl. Ida is the biggest main copywriting formula that you see in all advertisements. Okay. And what it stands for is attention, interest, desire, action. There are other formulas like PAS. What's up, PAS? Problem, agitate, solution, which is just born from Ida. So Ida's homegirl, she's the mother of copywriting formulas. We love her. And this is just, you know, for you to see here, break down attention, usually with a hook, maybe with a question, maybe with a, hey, you're not going to believe this, identify, then interest, something to pull them in so they can really see, and then desire, whether that's where they see themselves maybe, or where they are now, action, book a call, follow me for more, save. So the example I'm going to go into next, the first example I'm going to go into is just a flyer, direct response copy, something that you would see maybe in a magazine or an ad, okay? Pretty clear here where the attention is, right here. Pain says goodbye when you say hello. So the attention here is shifting someone's belief of like, oh man, like I'm in so much pain, I've tried everything. Well, you didn't try aloe. And now the interest is kind of poking, that's the next example, is poking at what people might have believed. Oh, Jen, oh no, okay, she's talking to someone else. Modern science is now proving what historical leaders knew about this legendary plant, right? Like there's so much healing in this. And now you got the interest. You're like, yeah, I kind of knew there was something healing about nature, but I don't know. My doctor says just take these pills. So you got attention, interest with the photos. We always like a visual demonstration. And now here's the desire. Desire can be bullets in your content. Desire can be carousel pages, which we'll go into a carousel example. Desire can be in your script where you're then expanding on the attention. So here, the desire is showing them what's on the other side. You're not gonna have joint and muscle pain anymore. Your stomach's not gonna hurt. You're gonna finally have control over your blood sugar so you can do the things you love to do. Your skin's gonna look younger, right? And then the action. The action could be call this number, right? But they want to take people a little bit deeper, so they're going to say turn to page 3. The action can be subscribe to our email list. So it can be whatever you want. And when you're first building your community, I would say, you know, just soft things like save this post for later, follow me for more, and then get into like DM me, you know, once you have that community built. But again, it's your business, it's your rules. And I think the best thing you can do is experiment. As a copywriter, email copywriting, I do tests. I run test A subject line, test B, and see which one works better. So there's a lot of room for experimentation, but you want to have that formula to kind of guide you so you're not just like throwing darts all over the place. All right, now I'm going to go into a really exciting, fun example that Brittany and I strategize with our clients at Rapture Marketing, her agency. And this is a really powerful woman who works with women and mothers to empower their mindset and their strength and their fitness. So what I'm going to share is a carousel. Same formula, attention. The attention here is a visual demonstration, and then 5 at-home workouts for when you don't feel like going to the gym. We're not just saying 5 workouts. It's specific for when you don't feel like going to the gym because maybe you just started and you don't want to be in front of people, or maybe you have your period and you don't want to go to because you're bloated, you know? So this is the hook. This is the attention. This is telling people what they're going to get. Now, the next part, the interest, is really important because it's kind of a buffer before we get into everything. So this next slide with the interest is giving them more information for them to identify. So if you're new at working out and the gym feels intimidating, then this is perfect for you. And guess what? You don't even need any equipment. So now they're like, wow, now I really have to do this. Like now they really want to go to the next one. Because you could just go right into it, but now this is getting them, they're committed. They already took action to slide. Every little action takes into consideration and matters. So this quick little side example, when we're on our computer, and this is also Big Brother, but like where our mouse cursor goes, that's kind of how our brain works, right? Like when I'm doing this, I'm kind of doing this because my brain is like, okay, like this is where we're talking. And when I'm, sharing things with you, those little actions matter. And if someone visits your website, for example, and they're clicking over here and they're clicking over there, like it's keeping track of that information. And it's also igniting action where people are like, oh, like maybe they don't click, but they're like, oh, like they're just there, so their brain is there. So that's just another thing just a subtle little thing that is really interesting. So that's where the interest here comes in. Now they're going to take another action and swipe. And now here with the desire, we're giving them everything they need to know to get that booty they want, to get that strength that they want with the goods. We're giving them the squats. We're giving them the push-ups. We're giving them lunges for their legs and their glutes. We're giving them planks for their abs. And we're giving them the donkey kicks. So this with the photos works really well. You could also do like just a blank color too, which is good for sharing purposes. So again, that's all up to you and kind of what you're, how you want your brand to be presented. So it's fun. You get to have fun with it. So now we have everything here. At this point, people are probably already saving it because they're like, oh yeah, like I can't do this right now. I'm gonna do this later. Action, get fit with a plan, DM me strong to learn more. So she already has like an audience that, is interacting with her content. And sometimes, you could also save this for later. Chances are people are already saving your stuff when you're giving them that stuff right away. They're like, okay, cool, I'm gonna come back to this, or I'm gonna send this to my friend. Any questions on these examples so far? Or any like things that maybe speak out to what you're doing with your work? I see you taking notes over there, Vanessa. I don't know if you have any questions, maybe before we're gonna do the workshop, but before we get into
question, I feel like this is really great. I took a class like this once. It's kind of cool to kind of revisit the things in a new stamped way.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So then one other thing too, in your post, you also want to consider the caption. So here, attention is the hook. We're asking them a question. We're telling them it's okay if you don't have the gym, that's no problem. You could, like my clients think they need to do this, but you don't. So this is the first couple lines with the attention. And then here's the desire where it's like, hey, it's not going to make or break your fitness goals. Like, there are those days you don't feel like going. It's basically telling them like, what you're after, you don't need anything but yourself. Like, you can do it. And this comes back to breath work. Like, hey, are you nervous? Guess what? Like, you're in your car, you're running late. Take these 3 breaths and you're good, And then it goes into the action. DM me strong for more information. So you can use this in your reel scripts and in your captions, okay? So now I have some examples. Now it's your turn, okay? And we're gonna do this all together. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share a template, okay? And I'm gonna share a little bit of the example behind it. So this is the template. If you are, and basically you're reading this as if you were telling this to your client or telling this to your friend who is your client that you want to help. If you are a mother about to give up on their, like what their aspiration is, then watch or read this first. For this purpose, my example is read. But the reason why this template is so great is because you're empathizing, you're addressing people on the brink of giving up. People are, feel like, oh, I got to give up. I tried everything. Or maybe, they haven't even tried anything because they don't know a solution is out there. So you're giving that relief of watch or read this first because there's a solution and there is hope. And like, it doesn't have to be this way forever. So some examples, like if your audience is entrepreneurs, if you're an entrepreneur about to give up on your first startup, watch this first. Maybe you're a parent. If you are a new parent about to give up on training your baby how to sleep, watch this first, right? They're probably exhausted from nights up all night, exhausted the next day. They didn't get any sleep because their baby was up all night crying. If you are someone who helps people with digital marketing, right? If you're a small business owner about to give up on paid marketing, which is ads, read this first. So this, this is just some examples and you can make them your own right now, write it down. because we're going to do this together. So please do that. I'm going to go into an example here just to help you in case, you know, maybe you feel stuck. This is a specific example on artists. I thought of my friend, she's a coach for artists. She helps artists live off of their creative endeavors without having to work a 9-to-5 job, which is so cool. If you're an artist, if you're an artist about to give up on their dreams, watch this first. So this is going, read this first. This is going to go into, and I'll share in the next part. This is just the attention of the IDA framework. So, please write down your version for your specific solution as if you were speaking to your audience. If anyone needs any help, let me know. Let me check the chat. I haven't checked the chat. Yes. Brittany coming in with the gems. We get to learn our ideal client better than they know themselves. Yeah. Do another minute, okay? Take a sip of my coffee. Everyone's doing okay though, yeah? Like if you need help, ask me. I don't want you just sitting there. Okay. You guys look focused. Okay. Brittany's ready. Jen, Vanessa, you guys doing all right? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, we're gonna move to the next slide, okay? I want to have time for questions too. Okay, so now we have our attention grabber, people to identify with. Now the next slide, it's gonna give you everything, okay? Interest, desire, action. So for this specific example, I'm gonna move my cursor here. If you're an artist about to give up on your dreams, read this first. This could be a script, this could be a carousel, and I have the actual pieces here. You know, when you write it down on your social media, please don't have this here, right? I think that goes without saying, but I just want to make sure. So if you're an artist about to give up on their dreams, read this first, because the keys to reigniting your passion and turning your art into a thriving career isn't as distant as it might seem. So now we're letting them know that they're about to get some knowledge. They're about to get some insights like, oh, wow, yeah, it's not that far, you know? Well, how do I know? I know what it's like. I know what it feels like to want to give up. Okay. And then it goes into 3 things. I like threes. Threes are great. Yeah, I like, that's something that I learned from a copy coach before. So I know what it's like to feel to give up. Struggling with creative blocks. I faced months of artistic paralysis, and I just felt like my creativity was dried up. But then by implementing new techniques and routines, I reignited that inspiration. Facing rejection, receiving countless rejections from galleries and clients would make me question my worth. I learned to use feedback constructively and refine my approach so that I can get more opportunities. Rejection is always redirection in any niche. Balancing art and life. Juggling artistic ambitions with daily responsibility seemed impossible, right? So if someone has like a 9-to-5 job and then they're also like trying to make music on the side, that's kind of hard sometimes, you know? You come home, you're tired, like you have to make dinner and then you have to like work on your music or whatever. Like, well, I discovered time management strategies that helped me create a balanced schedule so that I didn't have to feel burnt out. So now we have that desire, that identity, right? Speaking from I've been there and I know where you are, and now we're giving them action. So in this specific example, I say, save this post for next time you need a reminder and follow me for more, especially if you want to reach your dreams as an artist in 3 months or less. So the reason I say 3 months is because, right, this example, this person helps people within 3 months. So we're planting that seed of like when the call to action and that lead generation post comes out, it's going to be work with me to become a full-time artist in 90 days or less. Another thing that I like to add with action, guys, is a PS nudge. This is great for emails too. It's just this is optional, but it just, lets people know that you're still, connected with them. And remember, you don't have to do this alone, and you have everything it takes to make it to their side. I believe in you. You can make it more direct. PS, right? So let's say you have a call to action that says, for example, in this position, let's say if the call to action in this example was DM me the word create, so that you can create your dream life in 90 days or less and become a full-time artist. PS, if you want to if you want to be in my early bird and receive 30% off, then make sure you DM me before da 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 da. So that the PS can be a nice sweet reminder, which is good for nurturing, or it can be a way to really drive urgency. So as we're going through this example, take this time to work on your AIDA framework, your AIDA, and create, this could be a post, you guys. And the thing too about this is that you can repurpose your post. What you're working on can be a carousel. It can be a reel, it can be a reel where you're doing B-roll and you're just doing this and it has the words. You can also repurpose it into a script, and you can also make it a story. So yeah, it's this content thing is really cool because sometimes it can feel like, oh man, I'm like throwing things down people's throats, like I don't want to be promoting too much, but people want to hear from you. And too, like, there's so much stuff out there and that you can change it up that like people aren't going to remember. Sometimes I see people who have really great reels that perform so well, they post it again and then it performs even better because that one did so well, right? And now they're posting it again and it already did well and it's going to do better because people, forget, and then it reaches more people. So has everyone taken some time to work on their framework? And if you haven't, it's okay. You can take this with you. I just want to be here as a resource in case like you have any questions. Cool. So this is the formula. Always turn to Ida. Ida is homegirl. We love her. And again, this formula can be used in so many ways. And the more that you do this, the more flexible you're going to become in your frameworks, where it doesn't feel like a formula, like math. You're going to know it. You're going to call upon the spirit of Ida and she's going to bless you. Vanessa, you're gonna call upon Ida and you're gonna, that experience with the friend client, like you're gonna have a post for that, like, like how I can help you, even if you're like, even if you feel like there is no way. I'm gonna open up this space now for questions. So the floor is all yours. Maybe any takeaways, maybe what you're excited to do after this, anything you want.
I was actually just making a reel when my internet stopped working and I had to hop off this call. And it was like literally just this, and it was this, are you feeling overwhelmed? Here is a simple, or are you feeling overwhelmed? Here's how simply breathing can help you out. And it's like really, like, breath is so easy. And so it's like statistics show stress can lead to huge health issues, diabetes, like all the things. So it give like 3 examples of the health issues. And then the desire is like the state of mind that you would like to be in. So I also found that because I do what Rob suggested, that I write down like really cool hooks or things that I would like with my followers to know, or little, like, your brain is always finding answers to whatever you ask the right questions. And so posting like cute little things like for my followers to do. And I found, which I thought was the weirdest thing, that people love the sound of writing. So I've been recording like me writing these notes and then posting it as a story and then posting that as a photo later, so that like it's like content all over the place. So I'm like, oh, I had no idea. And people are like, where did you get that pen? I'm like, that's so weird.
That's so funny. It's cool. It's like AI. People love that.
Yeah. They're like, what sound is that? How did you find it? I'm like, it's my pen. What the So yeah, I guess that's something I learned. And so I'm like, cool, I guess it's working. Then I'll keep doing it. And
Oh,
people are
cute.
like waiting until the end because they're like, what are you going to write? And I'm like, that's insane. So it's cool to find out that works. But yeah, the
Yeah.
nudge is cool. I always say, like, I'm rooting for you. Like, healing is a process. Like, grace is essential. So I like to just like make sure people know, like, you're doing great.
You're so amazing. Oh my God. I'm gonna follow all of you guys. Everyone put your
I know. I'm like, no.
I want to share something based on what Vanessa just said, because it's not about, this is relates to what Michelle said in the beginning. It's literally not about what you're saying. It's also about like what you're doing. And that's why I always encourage people to do the thing they think they shouldn't be doing. Like, oh, people don't think that relates to my brand. Do that thing, because people will relate to that. Like, she just was writing, and almost every human being can relate to writing. So like, when you do the random thing, they might actually pay attention to what you want them to hear. So I love how that's like such a style right now when it comes to content, is like the B-roll footage of you doing something random and normal, and then maybe a voiceover or text over the screen, something that shares the message you actually want to share. So I really love that you brought that up, Vanessa, because I think I want people to see more of that. Like, I want to see you walking down the street, girl. I want to see you opening a can of tuna.
Yeah.
I don't know, like people want to see the random stuff like that. So I love that you leaned into that.
Thanks.
Yeah, and the original audio too is awesome because of course people can use that and that's great, and like, you see that for trending audio and it helps you, like if it does really well, then it helps other people do well, and then people see yours as the original. And I also just learned something too, and I wanted to share this with you, Brittany, is about original audio is being preferred in the algorithm now. So like that's really interesting, because sometimes we'll look for trending audio, but the algorithm is starting to favor original audio. So you're already ahead of the game, girl. Vanessa.
Like, yeah, I was like, and I'm like, silence, I'm writing a video. And everyone's like, oh my God.
Let's
Like,
go steal her audio, guys. Let's go use her writing audio.
Your audio. Fuck yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I say
I didn't realize I'd be self-conscious about like breathing on an audio while I'm writing. I'm like, this is so bizarre. So I'm like, I'm not creating more fears than I need. I'm like, just write it. And yeah, I feel like I'm living by this idea that like I'm a lighthouse, and no matter how uncomfortable it is to, then that's it. Like, I'm the lighthouse. So just do it.
Can I share something, a realization from what you were sharing, or how I relate to it, Michelle?
Yes.
Okay, so when you shared IDA, there was another one. I think it was PASS, problem and solution. That's the one I go off of when it comes to copy and content, like problem and solution. That's literally all marketing is. And just to kind of frame it back to IDA, the way I see it is like you have hook number one, which is the attention. Then I like to call what you called interest, I call it hook number two, because you hook people and you want to like double hook them with that interest. It's like, so that's how I like to think about it. You can't just have one hook. Like, did you guys hear about this? You wouldn't believe, that's hook number one. Hook number two, you wouldn't believe what I just discovered.
I was like, what? Tell me.
You wouldn't believe what I just discovered about these organic watermelons. It's like, then you go into it. So problem and solution, but I like to think hook one, hook two, then you answer it usually, or describe it.
Depending on how things are.
What's
Yeah.
that?
Even more hooks depending on how long it is. Like if it's like an email or even with captions, like bringing in that hook. There's sometimes like when you were saying the hook one, hook two, and like that, I was like thinking of like combination sequence. It's like hook, hook. I mean, like jab, jab, hook, and then another jab, then a hook, and then a knockout. With that,
Yes.
is a knockout. That's what I made her a draft as a real, but that you want to prepare them for that total knockout.
Yes. Also, something you did on your example, which I don't think I talk about enough, is like a transition. There's like a transition phrase, like, so let me tell you why, or like, here's exactly how you're going to do it. Like transitioning between these main equations. It's like the equation. I'm actually a math girly. So when you ask, I am a math girly. So you got A plus B minus Y. You got to make sure the plus and the minus is there, or else ABY won't equal ABY. You know what I mean? So you got to have those plus and minuses in between the transitions for it to all kind of connect.
Yes.
Yeah. I like how you did that in your example. So I wanted to highlight that in case anyone didn't notice it.
Is
Yeah,
it
definitely.
you know, like a conversation, like, let me tell you why. And it's like, all right, yeah, you know, and like, even when you were just saying like, guess what? I'm like, what? And you have that energy too, you know, like, what?
Yeah. Okay. Love this.
Does anyone else have any other questions for Michelle? Thank you guys all for being here. I'm going to post the recording inside the Client Club, but I'd love to just give anyone a last opportunity to ask anything related to content, copy. Michelle is the bomb, so.
Yeah, and if you guys want to connect or have any questions, just to like let me know. You can reach out to me in DM, and yeah, we can chat about geometry and math and language or specific things related to your business. Okay, I'm always down to help. I love this stuff. It's like a personal vendetta, man. We gotta, every action creates that ripple. So being here has been so much fun, and thank you, Brittany, for having me and sharing your community with me. You guys are so beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michelle. We freaking love you. I dropped her link inside the chat too. Make sure you guys follow her. She's awesome.
That's all you got.
Will do. This was awesome. I definitely took something away, and I'm working on my marketing, so this was like perfect.
I can't wait to see this stuff. Like, yeah, I gotta get some stuff from my girl.
Yes. Thank you so much. And I'm definitely gonna follow you and stuff too.
Talk to you guys later then. This is see you guys later.
See you guys. This isn't goodbye.
Yes.
Well, you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday, and I'll see you inside the Client Club. Please feel free to share anything inside, like, thank you so much, like a huge shout out inside the Client Club. I want to get y'all's energy in there too. If you can give her some love inside the group, I would love that too.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next group call soon.
Yay.
Bye, everyone.
All right,
Have a great day.